Man, to the guys, it's 8:05 and Grabow Outdoors is in the studio.
This is fun.
Rapidly
Every
moving
Tuesday, a lot of fun.
Oh, so excited to have you guys. Welcome in.
Good
David,
morning.
good morning, buddy.
Good to see you. How's everybody doing?
It's just another beautiful day, my man. I'm coming to Grabow's today. And you brought my reel back?
Yeah.
Jeff gave it to me this morning.
They brought it back last Tuesday.
Yeah, it was ready last week. You dropped the reel off Tuesday morning. We had it ready for you
Jeff goes,
Tuesday afternoon.
I had this in my car for a week.
Don't worry about French fries in the line.
I thought it was a lost cause, guys. I really did. This is my old Team Daiwa reel.
And they fixed it up for you.
And the last time I cast it, the last few times it would go, and I was like, uh-oh, I've done stripped a gear or burn a bearing or something. But y'all fixed it.
Yeah. Told
And
you
it's
good.
full of nice line and every Grabow Outdoors. You got to love them. You got to love them. I really appreciate it. I'll get my ticket here in a minute.
No,
Yeah.
it's on the house.
Well worth it.
My buddy Jim here is pretty excited because a little bit later today we've got a meeting that we'll be attending. So he's got some time in between.
Yeah.
He's like, fellas. He's like, Russell.
I'm going to Grabow.
Jeff. I'm going to Grabow. Right for the show. What time they open? 9 o'clock? I'm there. 9:15.
I got a Ben Franklin burning a hole in my pocket.
Yeah, I'd like to hear that.
That's where I'm headed with it. So if the wife's listening, I don't really have a band, babe.
Well, if he's got 100 in his pocket, maybe he can hold off until UPS arrives with our Glock 43s for the day.
Hello.
Yeah.
Well, I'd have to stack a few more bands there, but
Yeah.
it's a good way to start, though.
That is.
Put the rest on the credit card.
Yeah, of course.
That's a good idea, being American.
Let's talk a little weaponry today, fellas.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
welcome back. Welcome back to Robert. Happy to have you here, my man, and Pete as well. It's good to see you guys.
Good morning.
And y'all been with us here on the show a couple of times, and so it's good we get some familiar faces, and we cut up and
The
learn
dynamic
a lot.
duo.
They're not messing around.
No.
These fellas know a lot about guns.
And self-defense.
Yes.
Don't forget that
I
part.
didn't want to touch on that because, yes.
He's pretty close to you.
How many black belts? Yeah.
But welcome in, guys. Good to see you.
Great to be here, guys. Thank you.
Well, it's good to have you, as always. And we're going to talk a little bit of gun stuff. So you got some new Glocks coming in?
Yeah, the much highly anticipated single stack Glock has been, fervored and foamed about and clamored for years, and they finally come to market with it.
It's coming.
So what about this gun is different, and what about this gun are people so fired up about? So, sorry about
Well,
that.
it's from a point of view of a concealed carry. When I say it, return to a single stack, so it's
Yeah.
a inline stack magazine. It's not as bulky, so it's more a closer profile to the body when you wear it.
And we're talking 9 milli, 40
Yes.
cal, 45?
Nine.
Or 9 and 40s?
9.
9 only.
Yes.
Okay. Well, cool. 9's a great round.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been around a long time. I said round too many times, didn't I?
No.
Jeff,
Can't
you
round
should
it.
straighten me out.
There's no
It's too late.
You are your own beast, Jim.
I'm sure that resonates with you.
Very much so.
I can't believe I said that 3 times.
You've been saying it for about a year and a
I
half.
know, I
It's
gotta-
fine.
I
It's
gotta
no
back-
problem.
back it up.
We've been giving Jim a hard time.
Yeah.
Sometimes we get our words confused.
They got mad at me
The
about-
terminology matters,
Yeah.
and so it's no problem. The same would be true when it comes to guns, right?
Absolutely.
Sometimes people think they know what they're talking
Right,
about, and
like-
they just don't. You
Like
come
the
in.
single stack versus dual stack. Most people don't understand, but the single stack, what does that do for a gun and its layout?
Well, the single stack magazine, the rounds are stacked on top of each other rather than staggered. So
Sure.
the magazine is slimmer. Usually you lose a little bit of capacity when you go to a single stack mag.
Makes sense.
But the idea is the frame is slimmer. So wherever you're concealing it, you've got less thickness in that gun. Makes it a lot easier to carry.
Okay.
So it's kind of like, the profile of my wallet on payday compared to 2 weeks later, the day before payday.
Exactly.
On payday, I'm walking around with mad cash, and that's a thick old wallet I got there, right? But day before payday, well, let's be honest, a week before payday, that wallet's not as thick. So, you can obviously tell a difference in your wallet, in your breeches. I guess the same would be true when it comes to a weapon. Like if you got a magazine where it's going to be wider and you're trying to conceal it, if it's wider, that's a little
Yeah.
difficult to conceal.
What's going to happen is, if you start carrying on an everyday basis, you've got a gun on every time you leave the house. sooner or later, if you're carrying a big gun, that's going to get old.
Yeah.
It's going to be heavy. You're going to want to mess with it and readjust it. You're going to have to wear bigger clothes to conceal it, and you're going to find yourself having to fight the urge to mess with it and
Sure.
adjust it, which it's kind of like in poker. It's a tell. You don't want people to know you've got the gun, so you don't want to fidget with it.
Yep.
And usually it takes some time for people to realize that if they're going to carry every day, you want to go with something smaller. The gun I carry for concealment every day is not the same gun I take to the range and shoot for fun and targets. It's a smaller gun. It's made for close quarters, and it's a lot easier to carry. But what happens, we have a lot of people come in, they want to get a big gun, they start carrying it. Almost immediately they realize, hey, this is a lot of gun to carry around.
Sure.
And they start thinking about, okay, where can I go from here? And that's kind of a personal decision.
Well, I mean, I just think about carrying around a cell phone. I mean, they keep coming out with bigger and bigger smartphones, and that's great, but it's got to fit in my pocket and not be so cumbersome. That's got to be a pain. I do have a question when it comes to concealment. What usually leads a person to decide, I've been a gun owner, but I want to be one who carries it regularly? Does something normally happen in somebody's life, or do they just have a greater awareness of what is going on in the world? What your encounter, and Robert, you can speak to this as well. What do you see is when someone kind of makes that decision? I don't simply want to have a gun and be proficient in firing it, but I want to carry it every day. What leads a person to get to that point, in your perspective?
Like you said, either something's happening to them personally,
Yeah.
or they just watch the news and they see what's going on, and they decide, hey, I need to have it with me. It's not doing me any good at home on the bedside table.
Well, we had a tragic story yesterday in the news. I don't know if y'all saw this, but we talked about it earlier this morning. But in Jemison, there was a active shooting situation where a man murdered his wife.
At the doctor's office.
And she had run into the doctor's office. And you can't help but wonder. And not that, everybody that carries a gun wants to be some sort of rogue hero waiting on an opportunity to be a hero. But at the same time, when schools went on lockdown and there was a lot of confusion early on, because I have a business about 15 miles from that area. And so, there was a lot of panicking going on when suddenly the news broke. The first news was a tweet from the schools to the parents saying the school's on lockdown. The parents don't know what they're on lockdown about. Then, of course, the NBC, I think 13 was the first to say, we have an active shooter situation. All parents here, active shooter. All parents here, lockdown. And panic ensues, right? But the facts are, if there had been anyone in that doctor's office besides the murderer with a weapon, it might have had a different outcome, right?
True.
Because I think, luckily, I am armed at work. And if some hysterical woman had run in claiming that her husband was on his way to kill her, then I would have locked her in the bathroom and racked a live round in my 12 gauge. Because I've got a 410, I got a 12 gauge there, got a couple of handguns, but I love the big boom boom. So when it comes to really protecting a situation, the old 12 gauge with the buckshot would have been a wonderful weapon to have. And like I say, this 9 that's coming out from Glock, that's going to be one of the smallest 9s out there.
No, I wouldn't say one of the small. There are other great manufacturers have smaller
And single
guns.
stacks as well.
It's just your personal preference of what you want.
Well, Glock's a big name,
Yeah.
so a lot
I mean,
of people.
we don't know all the facts. There could have been someone in the doctor's office that may have had a gun on them,
Right,
but
sure.
maybe didn't have the training or the background, the instruction to pull it out. They could have been hesitant. I mean, there's still a lot of things.
And that's
out there.
another point about why training is so
Yeah, we think about training. This NRA event coming up just a few days away, right? The
Yeah.
NRA Refused to Be a Victim seminar. This is coming up April 25th, and this is a good opportunity to get the training when it comes to your own personal security of your person and also your property, right?
Yes, sir. This is the NRA Refuse to Be a Victim course, and it's not really a shooting course or a fighting course. It's kind of about putting in place a personal safety strategy for everything you do. I mean, at home, things you can do to make your house harder to get into, things that you can do to make somebody that's trying to get in forcibly take longer to do that so you have more time to react to it, things you can do in the car, just kind of giving you a heads up on ploys that people are using to get close to you.
Yeah.
There's a broken down car, you want to stop and help. You never know. There may be 2 people in the back seat waiting for you to do that exact same thing. But what we talk about in this is options, different ways you can make your home harder to get into. You can make yourself a little bit more aware of the different tricks that the criminals and predators are using to get close to you. And we do discuss the options. If you're interested in firearms training, you know, we talk about the pros and cons of that and the reality of it. The gun doesn't solve all the problems.
Yeah.
Just having it, you know, you really want to be trained. You find yourself in that situation where you're under pressure for the first time, struggling with a gun you don't understand and are not proficient with.
Yeah.
You're going to be against the wall on that.
Yeah.
But this kind of gives you a really good look at the options you have for those kind of things.
I mean, you think in life of all the different things we plan out. We plan out what we eat. We plan out what we wear. We plan out our education. We plan out our retirement. We plan out our vacation. Plenty of places we plan. But when it comes to real crisis, sometimes we just think we're going to wing it. And
Yeah.
that doesn't seem like a great idea. I'll just call the cops. Well, great. Some guy's outside your door. You know, you can call and they'll be happy to come investigate what happened. But to have these plans in place where you have, in a moment where you have the training and you know what to do. I mean, it sounds like this kind of training is valuable for everybody.
It's like insurance.
Yeah.
You know, you don't plan on needing it, but you need to have it in place.
Yeah. And developing that mindset is what I'm hearing from you, is that, you know, carrying a weapon and deciding to do so is kind of, you got to develop a different mindset about how you conduct your life, right? And we've talked about it too, you know, as far as open carry, you know, there are a lot of open carry people, but, you know, if you're concealed carry, you don't use that to intimidate somebody. You know what I mean? It's not something, I think that, you know, the old rule about if you pull it, you're shooting it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you don't pull it to show it to somebody. That's just crazy. And so people need to really rein in what they don't know, or just, you know, come to this seminar. It's a simple thing to do, and it begins the conversation. And it starts the process.
I think Pete said it best: is having a gun and not having it fit you right. It's kind of like a poker face. By adjusting it and showing the tails, you could make yourself a target.
Yeah, I imagine.
And not only are you going to make yourself a target, but I would imagine you're going to make people around you feel very unsafe. Like if they see you fidgeting, like, you know, this guy doesn't acting right,
weird.
acting weird, and you know, if you want to have personal protection, and I get it, but if you're fiddling with it all the time and you're at work or something, or I
Yeah.
know I'm at a cookout or something, and I see you acting funny, it's like, well, you know, Steve's
up with
acting a
that
little
guy?
strange. You know?
What's up with that guy?
So how about you know what you're doing? Let's get the details here on this upcoming seminar, April 25th. It's from 10 to 2, a 4-hour event. And you can get the tickets today. How about you make that call to Grabow Outdoors and make plans to be there? You can call 314-8997 or go on their website, grabowoutdoors.com/firearms-lessons. We'll get more details from Grabow Outdoors coming up as our conversation continues here on The Guys.
It's 8:21 in the morning, and we're going to run out here to Tiger Paw. He's got a question. Hey, Tiger Paw.
Hey, good morning, guys. Listen, I guess it's a prevalent question, but I always been curious. I understand the federal law and regulations concerning commercial drivers.
Yeah.
And I realize the parameters of it. You can't go across state line, I guess, unless you're a U.S. Marshal or you've been given permission to go across state line with a weapon. But I'm still trying to figure out. We're just as liable. I'm not liable. We're just vulnerable to getting hurt out here on the road, whether you're a bus driver or a truck driver or somewhat type of a commercial driver.
Yeah.
You know, it's a lot of things goes on in truck stops.
Sure.
You know,
There's no doubt about it.
and I do understand you own private property and so forth and so forth, but still, yet at the same point, how can we protect ourselves?
Is that your truck, or is that a truck from the company?
No, it's a truck from the company, and I realize the parameters with that. You know, it's a private vehicle, so to speak.
Yeah, and they probably have their own regulations there.
And you're right, that would draw the line. But when you're out on this road, it's between you and who you meet.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I understand policy. Don't get me wrong. You have to go through your company first. That's the first place you start and get past that. But I think at a federal level, the company are not going to move past that part because the federal has them on the gun.
Well, I
You
think
know-
what you're speaking to is whether or not other states recognize the permit that you have
Yes.
from Alabama. And the answer to that, guys, is
No.
There is reciprocity,
there's some of them.
but the issue that you're really running into, because I did over the road for years, is that you're engaged in interstate commerce.
Commerce.
So federal laws come in.
Changes, yeah. Yeah.
So if you run a private vehicle
Yeah, different.
and not doing commercial business, then yeah, you could, if you had an Alabama license, concealed carry permit.
But from what I'm hearing, this seminar would be perfect for somebody like that because it's talking about awareness. And if you're not armed, you need to have a higher sense of that awareness, don't you?
Well, in that seminar, we'll be talking about awareness, but we really don't cover legal issues like
Sure,
that as far as
sure.
state to state and so forth. But yeah,
But certainly-
situational awareness is key.
I think that's a big deal to somebody that is not going to have the ability, like my man Tiger Paw, of having a weapon.
Absolutely.
Then you might need to learn how to keep your head on a swivel and recognize situations when they're not a good situation.
The best
make sense?
the best weapon, it doesn't matter what it is, and all the training in the world doesn't help you if you don't see it coming.
Amen.
You
Well,
know?
I mean, if his company's policy forbids firearms, maybe their handbook precludes everything but a gun. You can
Yeah.
use anything but a gun in their vehicle. So
Right.
knowing how to maximize and use those tools for personal and self-defense.
Sure.
If-
Non-lethal.
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't spell it out in their handbook,
Sure.
hey,
Then go with it.
Then go with
So
it.
like Chinese throwing stars.
Yes.
is the way I should go.
Absolutely.
I'm going to be a Ninja Turtle.
So can I ask one more question?
Yes.
Okay, so if I heard him correctly, coming to the meeting is getting the information. That's a start. But let's just say, for instance, you are a gun toter and you're licensed, but of course you have a commercial license. You can't take that with you nowhere except at home or in your private car. But at the same point, will the law have a problem with you carrying? I guess not the license, but that you are qualified. That if you got in trouble and you still find your hands on a weapon, sort of like a gun, I guess, and took care of yourself, will you still go to jail? If I'm making sense with that question?
Yeah. I mean that's a. deep
going to that, I
legal
guess that's up to
question.
the grand jury for evidence
yeah.
and, for the legal system to sort out. It may be a whole different, issue, with your employer.
Yes.
They may reassign you like they did the Papa John's girl, or that they may just flat out terminate you.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of gray area, and hasn't been a real precedent set legally in the system of someone using deadly force when it violates a company policy.
Yeah.
All right. So really, to be honest with you, it's we're in a twist between two out here, sort of like a catch-22, if you will.
Well,
Yes.
it's a conversation of a on the record, off the record. Someone, whoever your supervisor is or who you answer to with your company, and just say, hey, I want to talk to you off the clock, off company property, and say, hey, this is a scenario that I want to be prepared for, and how should I handle it? But I don't want to lose my job and lose my insurance and my
Right.
income.
Like you say, that off the record conversation.
Yeah, you want to be off the record.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Tiger
Thank
Paw.
you.
We'll see you, buddy. Let's quickly run out here to Mark right quick. Hey, Mark.
Hey, good morning. How y'all doing?
What's up, buddy?
Hey, understand Tiger Paw's question. I've been in similar situations before. I came up with an idea that I have exercise. I'm not sure of the legality everywhere, but I had to go to a state that I knew didn't have reciprocity, I believe the word is.
Yeah.
So I got a flare gun. They're good. It's not deadly, and you may burn your car down, but, I mean, if you shoot somebody with a flare, they're probably going to quit robbing you.
Gosh. I would think so.
I'm not sure, but I believe that it should be legal, and or at least you stand a pretty good chance with the judge.
Wow. It's
Flare gun.
That's a good question.
When I travel, I take harpoon.
An harpoon or flare gun.
Whatever you need.
And if I
Man, I'm sorry, Mark. Your phone is dying on me. I couldn't pick up on that.
We
last.
do appreciate your call at 941-1011. It is interesting when you have something like guns. There are all these unique questions that come up, and then you just have questions like, I don't know, how do I handle it, and what happens? Do I take a flare gun?
I don't know. I hadn't thought about shooting somebody with a flare gun, but that sounds pretty interesting. Could we do that later?
Sure.
Sure.
We'll try it in the parking lot.
That's amazing.
Any volunteers?
And then you've got state lawmakers here in Alabama as they're wanting to equip minors with kids under 18 to have the ability to use handguns
Yeah.
for target practice or for hunting. And so we can see all these different issues that come up. It's, we can certainly have our own weapons and our own point of view, but then you got lawmakers trying to work through all of these issues when it kind of gets to the on the record, off the record kind of thing.
Amen. Sure
So-
does.
Well, one of the things that we do is, Pete and I are instructors. We're not attorneys.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, legal advice is not what we're here to give.
No.
We have someone that comes in and teaches. He's a law enforcement and attorney, and that he teaches our legal portion of our classes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. See, that's great. Instead of, well, let me tell you what you need to
Right.
do. It's, I will teach
get a
you
lawyer
what
in here.
I am an
Right.
expert in, which is, yeah. That's quite good. So, Grabow Outdoors opening up this morning at 9, Monday through Saturday, 9 to 6. You can find them in Fultondale. How about you head out there today? Jim, you'll be heading there
I'm heading there today.
after the show in Fultondale, exit 265B, just right off of I-65, up on the hill off of 31. Their phone number, 314-8997. And they offer a full range, right? Full-service retailer of firearms, gear, equipment for hunting, fishing, archery. We enjoy our conversations each and every Tuesday here.
Boy, do we.
We do. And if you have questions, you have a question about your gun,
Yeah.
you have a question about shooting,
Restoring an old firearm.
you got
some
a
questions?
question about flare guns and harpoons.
Yes.
We're happy to take them all at 941-1011 here on the guys. Check out Grabow Outdoors on the web, grabowoutdoors.com. They got a Facebook page, they've got Twitter, they've got YouTube as well. You find them, you're going to love them, grabowoutdoors.com.
If Dave's on line one, hey, Dave.
Morning. A couple issues I'd like to talk about: reciprocity laws and the flare gun. I understand right now that Congress is considering legislation that makes, concealed carry standard throughout the whole United States. And I don't know the status of it, but I've heard several news clips on that. And another thing on that flare gun, as far as concealed carry, my wife has concealed carry. Our daughter lives up in Maryland, and she will not carry because it is absolutely crazy. You go across a state that won't recognize Alabama laws, and you're in deep stuff.
Yeah.
Now, as far as a flare gun, I was stationed in New Jersey
I'm sorry.
for 10 years, and if I left anything there, I'll buy another one because I am not going back.
Well, I don't blame you. I'm not going back either. Let's go to Jeff. Jeff's on line too.
Moving right along. Hey there, Jeff. You got a question for the guys from Grabow?
On Aquapaw's comment about commercial vehicles, there is no law.
I think he's in the cargo hold of that airplane.
Yeah, he is.
I think he is. That Alaska airline thing.
Yeah, I think
Yeah,
he fell
let's,
asleep, but he woke up. So.
We'll give out the phone number one last time. 941-1011. We've been talking about guns and gun safety today. You guys off air brought up a sensitive situation, and that is when it comes to aging parents, right? In life.
Yes.
Now, these are sensitive things that we deal with. That someone may have been a hunter all their lives. They've had guns. They may have served proudly in the military or the police force. But as the years pass, maybe it's time to think about gun ownership for seniors, right?
Yeah, I mean it's a personal with my wife and I. It's a family member that is aging, and they're not aging gracefully, and a lot of forgetfulness,
Yeah.
and has a lot of firearms in the home, and his safety of his neighbors, caregivers that are coming over, and
Right.
the comment of someone came to my door at 2:00 this morning, someone came to my door at 3:00, gets up, no one's there. Hearing things in the night, and they're not factual.
Yeah.
So it's a scenario, and it relates back to a story we shared off air of the gentleman in the assisted living. They did a welfare check, and the policeman and fireman came to check on him, and he pulled a gun on the fireman, and the policeman ended up having to shoot him. And it's something that it's tough being a gun owner and the love of guns when you have to take them from someone, and they still ask about their firearms, and they want them back. But eventually, we could go over to check on him during the day to refill his meds or go pick him up for a doctor's appointment. We come to the door and he pulls a gun on us, and it's a family member.
Yeah.
So it's a tough situation. It's not good to have to do it, but you know that the outcome could be life-threatening or it could be terminal.
Does that speak to the need for educating the whole family and having gun safety and an awareness and an
Yeah.
accounting for guns? It can't simply be, well, this is mine and somebody else has a gun and I'm not worried about where they keep it or what they do with it, but
Yes.
really kind of a whole family approach, right?
Yes. I mean, it's just in having them in the home and having them and not having them stored properly. If you've got 12 rooms in the house and there's a loaded gun in every room,
Yeah, that's a
and
problem.
that was a scenario that we were living through, is loaded gun in every room in the house, and the mind was not as sharp as it needed to be in forgetting of these guns. And it's, hey, I found one in the basement the other day and I brought it upstairs, and I don't know where I put it now.
Yeah.
And now
That's very
there's in-home care coming in, and you don't. It's for their safety too.
Yes.
I mean, because ultimately, we have asked them to come in and help us with the care of a loved one,
Yeah.
and we don't want to inadvertently put them in harm's way.
Yeah.
Do you run into similar issues when it comes to a collectible, that it's not something you're going to carry every day, or maybe it's not even something you hunt with, but do you ever have where people maybe they have a gun they've collected or maybe it was passed on to them that they don't even use frequently, and for that reason maybe they're not using the proper safety techniques for it?
Occasionally, we'll have folks come in that have inherited guns. Grandpa brought this back from
Sure.
World War II.
Yeah.
I've actually had people hand me guns and go, "This was Grandpa's, and he brought it back." And first thing I do is clear them, and you have rounds coming out.
Wow.
In the chamber?
Really.
Oh my God.
And it's
So-
happening more as that generation passes on, and these guns are coming,
Yeah.
being passed down.
Is it maybe if you come into a gun that you didn't set out to get, or maybe it's passed on to you from a granddad or something? Is maybe the best thing to do is to bring it to Grabow and have it examined and checked and cleaned and
There are, we see this a lot where people will come in with antique guns.
Yeah.
And they'll be, the first question they ask usually is, "Hey, you've got ammunition for this?" My first question is kind of like, "Let me see it and see if it's safe."
yeah.
Because some of these older guns are not really in condition to be fired.
Right.
Yeah, they need to be cleaned up, put in a nice shadow box, and with the history
Be done
of the gun.
with it.
Well, and I tell folks, write down as much history about the gun as you can, because that adds a lot of personal value to it. Grandpa bought this where, we got it wherever.
Yeah. That's a good point. Let's go to Jake right quick. Hey, Jake, what's up, buddy?
Hey guys, what's going on?
Good morning.
Listen, I got a quick question. I got a 20 gauge pump. There's a wonderful shotgun for shooting snakes and squirrels and stuff like that.
Sure.
But I had a coyote. I got a coyote that runs around my property, and so I didn't want to kill it. I don't like to kill anything. I don't even really shoot the squirrels, but I do shoot snakes. But I didn't want to kill this dog or coyote, and so I gave him about a 20-yard head start, maybe a 25, and I shot that 20 gauge with birdshot. And his tail tucked under his leg, and I think I peppered him. That shouldn't kill a coyote, should it?
No, no.
I don't want to kill him. I just want to aggravate him enough so he'd stay away.
I mean, if you want to continue that, you may look into getting some starter rounds. There's just report or if you wanted to get some live rounds, I'd go a number 9 shot, something really small, low brass, or just not even point the gun at the coyote, just
Let him hear
shoot it into the ground,
Let him hear it, yeah.
in a safe manner toward the coyote, but away from you.
I shot over him just a little bit, so all of it wouldn't hit him, but it definitely hit him because he hit passing gear. So I just didn't want to kill the thing.
I think Pete had a scenario similar to this, a while back.
I think
Yeah.
I think Pete just had
Somebody was trying to steal the blue pill, he'd be shot. Yeah, that's a 12 gauge category there.
Yeah,
No,
I hear you.
heavy shot is made in 12 and 20 gauge.
Sure.
Heavy shot is has it's a denser like a tungsten or
Right.
a plated, which carries more inertia. So if you want to just scare him, stick with
Bird
just
shot.
some bird shots, some of
Yeah.
9 rounds, or just a starter round.
Okay, I didn't want to. Okay, guys, thanks.
Thanks, Jake.
Pete, when you shoot coyotes,
All the time. All the time. Just can't stand to not shoot coyotes.
can't you just see like the Dos Equis guy? I don't always shoot coyotes,
I don't know if to
but
do
when
that.
I do.
Right.
How ridiculous. Okay, 941-1011. We've got Dale and we've got Debbie. Dale, you're first up. Go ahead.
Hey, good morning, folks.
Hey, Dale.
Morning.
Thought I had something to say, but the guy with coyotes kind of, I don't know. He'll want to shoot it when his pets go missing or when his neighbor's pets go missing.
No doubt.
He'll change his mind then. Hey, I went to Grabow. I've been looking for a shotgun for a long time and asked a lot of questions. I went to Grabow's. Man, they treated me fantastic. One of the salesmen there even told me that he would meet me somewhere and let me shoot his personal shotgun to help me make up my mind. And I've never been treated like that at any gun store anywhere before. I mean, it was just a fantastic experience, and I very rarely say anything positive. So I figured if I don't get treated where I want to, but I just had a good experience at Grabows, and fellas, I appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Dale.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
the kind
Thank you,
words,
sir.
sir. We're trying. We
Thanks, Dale.
we will make mistakes, but we can't say we're not going to try to fix them.
That is awesome. We're right up against the break. When we get back, we got Debbie. She's got a comment. She wants to talk about little firearms, and we'll reiterate about the seminar this weekend, 25th of April, coming up. So we will be right back. All right, welcome back in. We're running out of time. I'm going to run to Debbie right quick. Hey, Debbie. You're on with Grabow. How you doing?
Good. How are you?
It's a beautiful day. What's up?
I had a comment or two about the gun situation. When your parents get older, sometimes they develop dementia or Alzheimer. Well, the good thing with dementia is if you take the guns away from them and they ask you the next day, have you seen my guns? You can say, no, I haven't seen them today. And they'll completely forget about that, But my dad was in World War II, and he never talked about what happened over there until after my mom died. And then he was in the hospital for something totally unrelated, and he called the nurse in the room and said he wanted her to stay with him because he was considering killing himself. He was laying there thinking about him, what could he do to kill himself, and so he called the nurse in there. Well, he told me, I came up and stayed with him, and he told me a story that when he was in Germany, him and another soldier went into this town looking for a particular German officer who was supposed to be hiding out, and nobody would give him up. And so they're standing there talking, and then all of a sudden Daddy smelled something, and he turned, and the guy was right there and fixing to kill my dad. Well, Daddy killed him instead. They don't talk about this stuff. If you don't know their history, what they went through, I mean, at any time, he could have killed anybody if he had if something triggered a memory or something. And I never thought about World War II until after that happened.
Hey, we appreciate that call, Debbie. Thank you. 941-1011. Continuing our conversation with Grabow Outdoors. You just never know what you're going to get.
No. But
I mean, Grabow Outdoors.
At Grabow, you know what you're going to get.
I'm just curious. People come in, everybody's got a story, right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's true of life. But
Sure.
The story is you need to go to Grabow Outdoors.
That's the story.
You're going
April
after the
25th,
show. Yeah.
They've got the NRA, and you guys are geared up for that, and you got 10 seats available. Y'all holding it to 10.
Yes.
So that's a great opportunity for people to really reach out today at 314-8997 and go ahead and get you a seat because that's limited seating, and you do that for very specific reasons, Pete.
We do. You start getting much more than 10 people in there, and it's real hard to field everybody's questions.
Sure.
We've set the seminar up. We've done it in 2-hour increments and 3, and now we're starting with 4. And if you get a group that really starts to talk, you could really run that class for a long time because, like you said, everybody has personal situations. They all have questions
Sure.
about different things in their life. But
And it's 10 to 2, and y'all taking a little break for lunch. I guess a 30-minute break for lunch.
we'll probably let them eat a little something during the.
Okay,
Sure.
good. Because they, people like Russ, he's going to go into.
Oh, believe me, I'm going to eat. Oh yeah.
Gotta go shoot a coyote at lunch.
I'm gonna do it with a blowgun.
I'd like to shoot a coyote with a flare gun. The 10 to 2, April the 25th, you got 10 seats that you can get, but you need to call. You can log on and do it on the website as well. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And so that's a great opportunity. And I love the way it's a framework kind of class where you're talking about the mindset that you're going to need to have.
Well, not only the mindset, but we'll have a lot of things there you can actually see and get your hands on. Timers for your lights.
Sure.
Different tools. Obviously we sell a lot of firearms there.
Yeah.
We're going to show you some other things, pepper sprays and personal alarms,
Yeah.
collapsible batons, and kind of tell you, this is what's good about this. This is also what might not work for you.
Sure.
And kind of give you an idea of what your options are.
Yeah. Because there are options. A lot of people don't understand that, you don't have to go full-blown lethal. And certainly any deterrent, anything that ends the situation and you're no longer under threat is a good ending, right?
Yeah.
And so whether they're scared away by a dog on a tape recorder, because I used to have a friend that had an apartment and he had this, set up where he'd have a dog bar. He didn't even have a dog, right? But he had this tape of a German Shepherd. Now, German Shepherds can sound pretty vicious, right? And so a lot of the neighbors in that particular area didn't like that sound of that shepherd, so they never even attempted to break in his apartment. But little things like that. You were talking about timing of lightings and things like that, not letting mail pile up when you're out of town, get somebody to pick your mail up, that sort of stuff. I guess you're going to cover several different areas of situational awareness. So that's a great opportunity. April 25th, 10 to 2, can't beat it. Russell, I just don't know what to say. We got coyote shooting.
Yeah,
I don't know. Our callers today have been just kind of strange. But
Well, it's something we touched on last week when the ladies of archery were here. Reloading.
yeah.
A lot of customers been asking for
Right
reloading
on.
and reloading supplies, and we have been very fortunate. I think Robert will verify. I think we've got to have a shipment of about 60 pounds of powder coming here, I think, this week.
Nice.
So dies, presses, everything needed, primers, bullets, and now a lot of powders on the way.
So someone that's never loaded in their life could go to Grabow today and get everything they need.
Buy a manual and start that way.
Right on.
Can I tell you that as much as I enjoyed last week's show, I don't know if it's a good idea for those women to come back real soon. And the reason for that is because every day
Which one?
since the ones we, all the other women
all
talking about
of them.
archery, right?
got
You know,
you, yeah.
New Breed and talking about archery and Grabow Outdoors. I'm just telling you, all the guys wanted to ask me about, man, I listen to that thing, and it's those ladies and the shooting and the archery, and they were fired up. I think you've created a couple of stars.
Yeah,
so
I think so too.
I'm just letting you know.
They did real well. They were smooth.
They did awfully well.
Yeah.
Tell them to come to the store, see them, but bring their wallet.
There you go.
That's all.
Go
you
and
gotta
spend
do.
some cash. That's awfully good. That's awfully good. You can go by and see Grabow Outdoors today in Fultondale off of I-65, exit 365B. Highway 31 up there on the hill. You've seen it before. You've driven past it.
Oh, it's right
Maybe
there.
you haven't
Easy to
stopped
find.
in. Pop in there today.
Yes.
You're going by after the show. You can find them on the web, GrabowOutdoors.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube as well. And I got to say, you fellas are looking good there on the YouTube. We've got these videos, but other videos there as well, right?
Yes. We got fishing videos, fly fishing videos from Michael, archery videos from James, and some videos from Pete, and also just other videos. that
We got
put
some
up there.
videos from Pete putting the beat down on
Horse wrangler.
something.
You got to come to the class, see those videos.
Oh, okay, good.
I want to see you would go at somebody or something with a collapsible baton.
Yeah,
Just
just wearing them out. Or it's just clip.
and then we pull out the flare gun, and then
Robert.
we're off and running. Fellas,
Yeah. Thanks for coming in. Been a little different. I don't know what those calls are about. I don't know about coyote shooting. I gave him a head start. Come on. I didn't want to hurt him. I just shot at him with my 28.
We're going to have to schedule a flare gun safety class.
Absolutely. That's coming up next from Grabow. Flare gun safety class. Oh, thanks for coming in, guys.
Appreciate
it's
you.
always
Thank
great
you.
to see you.
Glad to be
Encourage
here.
Everybody go to Grabows today. That's where I'm being. We'll see you there.